A comfortable and upright seat. This is a song from Sweet Honey and the Rock, one of my favorite music groups, and they were really important and influential for me in my recovery. It was really a profound time to be introduced to their music and then to follow them for the time that I was able to. Okay, thank you, Susie, for getting it all set up. Here we go. Please take a comfortable seat.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings.
Is that loud enough for you guys? The sound? Should I turn? It's okay. I'm getting a thumbs up. Sophie, it's okay? Okay.
To the universe, who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings. To the universe, who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings. To the universe, who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of the ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of light, and builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith, makers of peace, wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of the ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We're mothers of courage and fathers of time. We're daughters of dust and sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We're lovers of light and builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We're makers of peace and wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of the ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe. Who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe. Who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe. Who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe. Who we are. We are one.
So we're going to sit a few moments more in the echo of that. Allow your body and your breath, your heart, your senses to take that in. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe. Who we are. We are mothers and fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers. We are children of God. I'm going to ask you to bring your hands together at your heart and just do your best. We'll sing one line from the song. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Once more. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. So may our practice today help us to remember this on behalf of all beings everywhere, especially those who are the most overlooked and those who have experienced the most disregard for their personhood. Let your breath and your body take that in. And when you're ready to, if you like, you may bow your head to your heart. And then please release your hands and open your eyes. I'm going to move back away from my computer screen a little bit. We're going to start with a seated warm-up for the neck and shoulders. So what I'd like you to do is when you're sitting up straight and tall, wrap your right arm around behind so your forearm crosses the mid-torso on the back side. And then tip your left ear towards your left shoulder. Roll your right shoulder back and bring your chin down towards your right collarbone. And what we're going to do is use the chin like a star rising, and it's going to go up to the upper left corner of your room, keeping your head on this diagonal to the left, and then bring the chin down towards your collarbone. And take it up, and you can use inhale or exhale as you prefer. Sometimes we like to use exhale for poses that are closing in the body. Then we might use the inhale for poses that are more opening in the body. Do this twice more, please. Inhale, this is the opening gesture. The head goes up, the left, the chin, and then exhale, come down towards your right collarbone. And one more time, inhale. So your head is diagonal to the left. These are the scalenes here. As you exhale, bring your chin in towards your throat. There's levator scapula and upper trapezius. And then release your right arm so it dangles and float your head up to center. Notice the difference right to left in the body. And then wrap your left arm around behind so that your forearm crosses the mid-torso. And as you tip your right ear towards your right shoulder, bring your chin down towards your left collarbone. And then coming in that way, you want to sense the back of the neck, like levator scapula, upper trapezius. And then inhale to open so that your chin rises on this diagonal. And exhale, bring that in. And if you prefer to do it the other way with the breath, that is certainly fine. So you can do it as it feels nurturing for you. And try to make the movements smooth. You can do this with your eyes closed, but at the end range, you might add the movement of the eyes even with your lids closed. So for example, when you bring your chin down towards your left collarbone, keep the eyes looking even further down. And when you open your throat towards the upper right corner of the room, let the eyes keep traveling up. And we'll do this one more time. And so opening, And then returning. And release your left arm, float your head up to center. Notice how things are there. And then please come up to standing with a yoga strap. We're going to do a couple more things for the neck and shoulders. I'd like you to explore how it can be to have neck and shoulders that are a little bit less tense. We'll also be working with the psoas today in class. So there's a connection between your neck and throat and your vagus nerve, and then your neck and shoulders and your psoas. Thanks, Susie, for asking me for that. Okay, so we take the yoga strap like this, so your hands are shoulder width apart. Raise both arms up. Now, as the arms are overhead, just gently pull your hands away from each other on the strap and press your shoulder blades into your upper back. Root down through your tailbone. Reach up through the thumb side of your hands more than the pinky finger side, so the inseam of the arms. And then begin to raise your collarbones, open your throat, lift your chin, lift your gaze only so far as your neck is comfortable. And then exhale, level your gaze, slide the hands apart, and bring them down on the strap behind you as if the chest were like a sail on a ship. From the center of your heart, reach out into your thumbs, like actively press your thumbs into the strap, almost like you're hitchhiking. Root the tailbone down. Now, keeping the tailbone anchored and your feet grounded, lift your chest, lift your heart, move upwards with your throat, your chin, your gaze like a standing back bend. And then release the arms down behind you and bring your heart and head up to neutral. And then take the same strap around in front one more time. Hold it at shoulder width like this. Raise both arms up. Reach up through the thumb side of the arms, root down through your tailbone, and with the arms overhead, hug your shoulder blades into your upper back and begin to make a little standing back bend from here. So this standing back bend is in your heart, in your throat, in your gaze, and it respects your neck. And then as you exhale, come upright, level your gaze, and sweep your hands wide on the strap. Deliberately press your thumbs into the strap to lengthen the thumbs themselves. Imagine you're like a sail on a ship here. Press your arms out wide. Keeping the thumbs steady, begin to make a little standing back bend. It's okay for the tailbone to come a little bit forward, but I would not take the hips forward of your toes. Reach up through your heart. And then release both arms. And exhale, pull your heart, your chin, and your gaze upright. And pause to notice how that feels when you come up right there. What is the feeling tone in the body? I'm going to ask you to put a loop into your strap, please. So you make the loop like this. You put it through both buckles and then back through just one. And I would like the loop to be smallish. It doesn't have to be large, in other words. You can do, let's do shoulder width apart, like that. That's a little bit big for me, so something like this. All right. But then put it only in your right hand to start. Again, right hand up. I do want your elbow pointing forward and your right palm facing to the left. Reach back and catch the strap with your left hand. And when you pull backwards on the strap with your left hand, that's only to help you press upwards more with your right hand. It's not intended to be an active back bend here. Press up. Reach up with the right side of your body. Root down into your right hip and heel and make a little side bend to your left. Now, to the extent that you're keeping your right heel and your right hip grounded, this side bend is reaching into not just your lower back or your side waist, but into your right iliacus and your right psoas. I'm going to ask you to play with your head and neck position, but play thoughtfully. So gaze down past your left shoulder, chin in towards the throat, and then rotate to gaze up past your right tricep, and rotate to gaze down past your left shoulder. Now as you next inhale, loosen the left hand on the strap and pull yourself up. And then exhale, open your right arm, turn your nose as far as it goes to your left. Rotate your head to center. Notice the right side of your neck relative to the left side. You might remember that line in the song. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Put the strap in your left hand, please. Raise this up. Okay, so when you go up now with your left arm, turn your left elbow to center and turn your palm to face across the right side. Reach back with your right hand. Pull back on the strap only for the purpose of reaching upwards with your left arm. Root down into your left hip and heel as you side bend. Please don't shift your hips to the left. The hips are not a typewriter bar right now. Let's gaze down. So when you gaze down, bring your chin in towards your throat. You're gazing down towards your toes. And keeping your side bend, begin to rotate your head to gaze up past your left arm. And then rotate your gaze down slowly. And again, please do keep the inner body steady. So what you're rotating is your head. One more time, turn your chin and your gaze to go up. And then turn your gaze and your chin to go down. And now loosen the strap from your right hand. Inhale, rise up to center. Exhale, open your left arm as you turn your gaze as far as you can go to your right. And let that come back around to center. And listen into the two sides of your neck. And listen in for the family of humanity, the lineage of which we are a part. And we're going to put the strap aside, and we will be using it again, so you can put it nearby. Please step forward for Surya Namaskar. We're going to be using side angle pose in this afternoon sun salutation. So please rise up to mountain. And join your hands together in Anjali Mudra. You energize your feet, including your heels. Then lift the inner arches. You can do that by pressing the big toes down. Lift the inner arches and imagine that coming up to the inseam of the legs, up to the upper inner thighs, and then toning up through the psoas. So lengthen your tailbone and imagine the inner psoas muscle as you lift your ribs up away from your pelvis, this elongation inside this very deep abdominal muscle. Lift your heart, open the throat slightly, and as if the psoas of the neck, deep inside here, it's called the longus colli, that also wants to get lengthened. So don't push your head forward. You do not need to pull the chin way down right now though. And then lift to the upper palate, the roof of your mouth, and then the crown of your skull. And there is your mountain pose for today. Inhale, just sweeping the hands down. Expand your inner body as you go upwards. Open your throat, lift your gaze. And then exhale, bow forward to Uttanasana. Try to keep your inner thighs lifted, inner arches lifted, lower belly toned. Inhale, glide your heart forward. Inner arches lifted, inner thighs moving back. Exhale, bow towards your legs. And at the end of the exhale, tone the deep low belly. Once more, please. Inhale, glide forward. Keep the inner arches lifted, inner thighs lifted. And exhale to bow towards your legs. The tone you bring into your low belly does not diminish the tone of the arches or your legs. Now please step your left foot straight back. This is the Crescent Lunge, which you're all familiar with. Inhale to rise. When you exhale, open your right arm out to the side. Now inhale, raise your right arm up. Okay, let's try this. Exhale, open out to the side and gaze to your right. Inhale to rise, return your gaze forward. Once more, exhale, open to your right, gaze to your right. Inhale, rise, return to gaze forward. This time we're going to stay there. So exhale, open your right arm to the right, take it all the way down, gaze to your right. Keep your hips stable and bring the side bend in that you had just a few moments ago. And that side bend was in the upper torso, shoulders, and head. Same idea here. Keep the pelvis stable. Stretch into your left side waist, the left psoas. And then inhale, rise up. Return your gaze to come forward. And let's exhale, float wide with the arms come down. And inhale, bring your left foot forward, please, and your heart forward too. And then exhale, take your right foot back, establish your right toes, press down through your heel. Inhale, sweep the arms wide, come up. So we want to keep the pelvis really stable. First time through, simply exhale to open your left arm. So know where you are in physical space here. Inhale, come up. Keeping your pelvis stable. When you exhale, open your left arm, gaze to your left. Inhale to rise, return your gaze to center. Try synchronizing those movements, right? So exhale, and as your arm moves, as your gaze moves, each completes at the exhale pause. Inhale, rise to return. Okay, this time we're going to be staying in the pose for a bit, so please keep the pelvis really stable. This side bend, you're going to be stretching the rib cage up away from your pelvis, but don't sashay the pelvis left to right. So you gaze down to your left. Lengthen the right side waist. Keep your right and left hips stable. And imagine inside the psoas is getting a little C shape right there. And then inhale, raise your left arm. Bring your gaze forward, return forward. And exhale, arms wide. Touch the two blocks, please. Let's use them this morning for downward dog pose. Inhale, step backwards. The exhale, come forward, plank pose. Gaze down between your thumbs. Inhale, reach high, downward facing dog pose. Gaze back between your toes, lift your inner arches. Exhale, glide forward, plank pose. Hug the feet together to tone your inner thighs. Inhale, glide back, reach the inner thighs back, gaze back at your arches. Exhale, forward, hug the feet isometrically towards each other, tone the inner thighs. Twice more. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, glide forward. Complete the movement as your exhale finishes. So you're still synchronizing. Last one. And then exhale, plank pose. Okay, lightly touch your knees down. Put the two blocks aside, table pose. Inhale once, cat pose. Exhale once, cow pose. Stretch your chin forward. Inhale, knees, chest, and chin. Exhale, cobra. Inhale, knees, chest, and chin, like an inchworm going backwards. Exhale, cow pose. Keep the throat open. Inhale, cat. Exhale, table pose. Inhale, downward facing dog pose. And take one more smooth breath cycle in downward facing dog pose. And then when you exhale, step your right foot forward and then your left foot forward. Reach into your Uttanasana. You can bring your blocks back onto your mat. And inhale, glide your heart forward. Lift your inner arches, inner thighs. And then exhale to bow towards your legs. Good. Inhale, rise up. Upward hands pose. Keep the inner arches and inner thighs toned. Root your tailbone. Look up here at the top of your reach. And exhale, hands to your heart. This time, Parsvakonasana. So inhale, rise up. Check your inner arches, inner thighs, inner belly, psoas, heart, then your collarbones, then your throat, then your eyes. And exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, glide forward with the heart. Please step your left foot straight back. Now as you step it back, pivot your left heel to the floor and look back that it's lined up with your right heel. Take this block and make it tall under your right hand. And then inhale, glide your left arm forward alongside your ear. And now begin rotating from your pelvis, root your tailbone down, and then rotate your low belly, mid belly, rib cage and heart. Turn your shoulder blades and your collarbones. Then turn your chin and your eyes. Press into your right arm and do your very best to actually look past your left tricep. Press firmly from your left hip into your left heel and just trace a little line inside the inner body for a moment. So your left heel is grounded. Then check your left inner arch, left inner thigh. Keep your right outer hip steady. Check the left psoas right alongside the spine up to your diaphragm. Reach through the left side upper torso. And as you reach with your left arm, turn your left tricep down towards your nose and rotate your gaze up past your tricep. And then when you exhale this time, lower your left hand down. The block is still there for it. Place your left palm firmly on that block. Tip the other block down. Pivot your left heel up and please step forward. And then exhale for a deep bow towards your legs. It's a symmetrical pose, so enjoy in this moment. And inhale, glide forward through your heart. When you exhale, take your right toes back. Pivot your right heel so it's lined up with your left heel. You can check by looking back. Take this block under your left hand, make it tall, please. And press firmly down with your left arm from your shoulder to the heel of your hand. Right arm forward. And then start turning from your back leg. Root your right heel. Root your tailbone. Rotate your pelvis to your right. That means tone the left outer hip. Aim your left knee in line with your third toe. And listen into the reach of your body here, starting at your right heel. See if you can find the inner arch right next to your heel. You have to think it, put your mind there. And then the upper inner right thigh. Now the right psoas, which is just along the spine there, from the lumbar spine up towards your diaphragm. And the right upper chest and torso. Rotate your right tricep down towards your nose, but try turning your gaze to look past your right tricep towards the ceiling behind you. And then exhale and lower this one down. Place your right hand firmly on the block. Tip the left block down to the medium setting. And please step backwards to downward dog pose. And this time, inhale forward to plank pose. Again, hug the feet towards each other so there's a support from your upper inner arches right near the heels, into the upper inner thighs right near the pubic bone, into the inner belly. Now step one foot over and transition to upward facing dog pose. And squeeze the feet towards each other again so the inner thighs are with you. Yeah. You're doing great. And then knees down. Okay, slide your heart forward, shoulders back, heart forward, shoulders back, heart forward, shoulders back, bring your head down. And then press into table and on your way back to child's pose. And in child's pose, let's do this, please. Turn your palms face up in child's pose. Something like what I'm doing here, like Sphinx pose, but the palms face up. You can begin with your elbows kind of down beneath your shoulders here. Keep your hips back towards your heels. And then walk the left elbow forward. Keep your left palm face up. Walk your right elbow forward. Keep the right palm face up. Notice what is required to keep your palms face up. What's required at your shoulder blades? Walk the left elbow 1 inch more forward, palm face up. Walk the right elbow 1 inch more forward, palm face up. And then slide your elbows back towards your knees. Rise up to kneeling. Take your block to sit in zazen. And rest your hands, palms face down. And notice what's happening in your inner awareness as we're addressing this inner line of the body, which starts at the inner arches, includes your psoas, and then translates into the upper hemispheres of the body. And try to sense yourself in this practice. It's to become more pliable, more porous, more open, to remembering the song that you heard. We are brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers, children of God. I'm going to ask you to take 2 blocks now and rise up to standing, and put 1 block to the right side of your mat for your right foot, 1 block to the left side. It's going to be for your left foot when we go in that direction. Begin with your right foot up on this block. If your foot is longer than the length of the block, then put 2 blocks in a row. And that means that your foot is not running off the front of the block with the toes. Bend your right knee and aim your knee in line with the third toe. I'm going to ask you to come down at first with your right forearm. Put it high up in the crease of your thigh here so you can press down right there. And with the left leg, to address the psoas in here, I want you to do this little twisty thing with your thigh. It's about rotation of the back leg. So root your tailbone, keep the low belly toned and the right inner thigh long. And pick up the left heel just for a moment, only the heel. And then try reaching from inside your lifted left hip. Lengthen your left heel back towards the floor. Not because you're lowering the left hip, but because you're lengthening your left leg into your heel. Good. And keep the outer right hip strong, right heel strong. Do that again. Pick up the left heel. Your hip is higher. Now try lengthening your left leg through the inner thigh to the inner heel without dropping the inner arch. Keep the belly toned right here. And then with your right arm, bring it down. It can be firm. And left arm. And let's make a deliberate C shape of the upper torso. You're doing really well. Thank you so much. So the right arm is firm against your right leg, and the upper torso can make this little C shape. Take a deep breath in, please. And then exhale, pull the left arm back. Press into your right heel, lengthen your inner thigh to come up. And you can straighten your leg right there too. Step your right foot off the block. Be thoughtful about how you do that. And then we're going to go to the other side. So left foot up. Walk the right foot back. Try to line yourself up, please, heel to heel, as you would even if you weren't using the block. And take your left forearm and place it here. So you're kind of depressing the left femur down towards the floor. It's my hope that it lets your pelvis rotate better, because when you press the femur slightly down, what I'm going to call the ceiling of the acetabulum, the hip socket, gets to rotate a bit better. Good. Okay, now press into your right toes. Pick up the right heel. Your hip just came up higher. Tone the right low belly, please. And then lengthen your right leg, not by lowering your hips so much as by sensing the length you can create from the inner belly. Let's do that again, please. Pick up your heel. Tone the right low belly. Keep the left outer hip steady as you reach. Good job. Reach with your right inner heel. Yep. And one more time, same idea. So pick up your heel, keep the rest of the pose steady, tone the right low belly, and then reach. Yeah, from inside the right hip, inside the right low belly. Nice job. Now make the left arm firm. Sweep your right arm. And let's make a C shape with the upper torso. Please keep breathing. I'm smiling at you. This time we'll lower the right arm down and then sweep it back as you rise up. And to take your left foot off the block, for some of you it's helpful to make the stride shorter first, then step this foot off. And let's come to mountain pose and just see how it feels. What's happening? It's often the case that when we work with the psoas, people have a yoga hot flash. Means your temperature might be going up, you might be exuding heat. Your temperature should also be normalizing. Sensing all of that action. I'm going to ask you to put the two blocks aside. And please come down to lie on your back with a rolled yoga blanket and a yoga strap nearby. I already have my rolled yoga blanket because I like to say it's like a cooking show. You make the supplies, you chop the broccoli before the people come. So this rolled blanket is going to be here for the outer trochanter. When you lie down, I'm going to ask you to do this. Lie down, watch out for painful hair clips. Lie down and pick up the right hip just to snug the rolled blanket under the trochanter. So this extra part of the blanket is just extra. Take your right strap. Place your right foot and your right hand in the strap. Lengthen the left leg out. And now magically that yoga blanket under the back of your thigh bone means that when you come out to Supta Padangusthasana, you really are less likely to tip over to your right. So lengthen the inseam of your left leg for sure. Go ahead and enjoy that, just like in side angle pose a few moments ago. And as you're stretching through the right leg, lengthen the inseam of your right leg. Let's raise the left arm overhead. And breathe long on the left side of your body, even as you know that it's the right inner thigh, right inner leg that you are lengthening. And then holding your strap, please inhale and glide your right leg up to center. Release your foot from the strap, release the blanket roll. Lay your right leg down next to your left. And as you're releasing the weight of your right leg and feeling the movement there, try to sense it again, this immense family of which you are a part. Everyone is your brother, your sister, your child, your mother, your father, grandmother, grandfather. And take the blanket to the other side, please. So your rolled blanket, we're going to use it for Shavasana too, so don't make it too sloppy. And then pick up the left hip, place it under the outside of your trochanter, means the outside of your thigh bone. Left foot in here, left hand. And as you open your left leg out to the side, notice that my sincere hope is that your right hip, it can't roll up off the floor, you are stabilized. Breathe long down the right side of the body, raise your right arm overhead. You're doing great. Let the breath be smooth and remind yourself that any sort of pliability or porousness that you're helping your body to return to is to help you have this porous nature for your heart and for your mind. The pliability of thinking, sensing, feeling, learning, evolving. And glide your left leg up to center. And let's release your left foot from the strap. Just place the blanket slightly to the side and let both legs go out for a moment. And then take this rolled blanket and I'm going to ask you to slide it under the tops of your thighs. So what you do is you bring it up, not just under the knees, but under the tops of the thighs. So that when you lie back, you can sense that the pelvis is just very slightly tipped. And it's not that your lumbar spine is going to or is required to touch the floor, but that we want the pelvis to be neutral here, neither a big back bend nor a kind of rigid holding in the abdomen. Take the arms out to the side, please. And close your eyes and start sensing that the pliability and the porousness that you focus on in your yoga practice. Of course, I know you as students, you know that this is deeper than just your muscles. It's not just about your flexible hamstrings, or not only for the psoas to be supple, but also that the psoas gets to remember and resolve. In Shavasana, you can imagine the process of remembering the indwelling nature of all beings, including yourself. And practice resolving the human inclination to forget that indwelling nature, even our own. You might even use a little quiet mantra in Shavasana where you say to yourself, breathing in, remembering. Breathing out, resolving. And breathing in, remembering. And breathing out, resolving. But don't let your mind go to sleep. You can just stay very gently present to remembering, resolving. You're not forcing this to happen. Allow your body intelligence through this practice into remembering and resolving. Allow that process to continue. Remembering, resolving. Remembering, let your body get deeply heavy, connecting back to the earth, to nature, to human nature. In resolving, allow the body to feel a little bit lighter, less burdened by the residue. The residue of stress, tension, but also this deep residue of forgetting the indwelling nature of yourself and all things. Don't let the mind wander, so you stay in the process of remembering, the process of resolving. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe. Who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe. Who we are. And welcome just a slightly deeper breath in. You may lightly wiggle your fingers and your toes. And please bend one knee at a time. And you can roll thoughtfully to your right side. Please rest there for a few moments so your psoas acclimates when you rotate. And then you can use both hands to bring yourself back up to sitting. And you come upright. Try to sit in the plumb line. Even though you're sitting now, you still have this plumb line, the two psoas muscles, and then up through the inner line of the body, the throat, upper palate, the crown of your skull. And bring your hands to your heart. You can sing with me if you like. We'll do this twice. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste.